he certainly finishes off in great style. I only hope he manages to turn around and we get a shot. At the moment, they're facing the far side of the Sydney Cricket Ground and is yet to turn around and do the hug for the people in the main stands. A little bit about the haka, Tony. It does loosen the players up too. I've always liked it. You're a little bit tense and tied up, and to get out and jump up in the air and scream a bit, it's great for you. It just eases the tension because I'm sure it's going to be on.
Expecting a very hard, torrid match here for the second test. The Kiwis are very determined to play a third and deciding test, and to do that they need to win today. The betting odds have reduced somewhat in Sydney. Before the first test you could get 15 points in on Australia very easily, and now it's around about 8 points they're offering in the difference. So obviously this Kiwi side has won a little bit of respect after having led the first test almost all the way and being beaten by a John Muggleton try 2 minutes from the end of the game. And the Australians, I'm sure, Des, were more surprised than anybody else.
Yes, and whether it's good or not for Mark Graham, we have won the toss, and Mick Cronin is going to kick off with New Zealand. In fact, there's virtually no wind here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. It's a beautiful day.
Well, the ball didn't look like it was going to go out, and Dane O'Hara was just a little undecided there, but it is out, and the Australians right up on attack, the scrum down. The New Zealand feed, but only 10 metres out from the New Zealand line. Australia win the ball. Steve Mortimer coming through there. New Zealand defence is going to need to be tight here. Australia up on attack, winning to run. Mal Meninga waiting outside Mike Cronin. Kevin Tamati, the tackler, along with Olsen Filipina. Australia wanting to run it up quickly, up the middle. The centre combination is yet to be seen if it works between Mal Meninga and Mick Cronin. Little bomb up from Steve Mortimer. Underneath it, Gary Campbell and safe. New Zealand have possession. Les Boyd it was, the tackler. Kevin Tamati. Tamati being pushed back by Les Boyd.
Straight away called out is Craig Young. So obviously something happened in the tight there to Tamati. No doubt he's a wanted man after what he did to Hancock.
Gary Campbell with line kick. A relatively conservative kick. It's made them a good 15 metres, though. Broadhurst running it up. And we may see a better combination in the second row today between Graham West and Bruce Gore. Both of them, as we said, had good individual games in the first test, but the combination of the two running off each other didn't seem to work too well. In the game during the week against Riverina, Graham West was the star. Broadhurst gets the pass out. Nice running, that's West up there. Howie Tamati towing it on. Is he going to get possession, though? Well, that went forward a couple of times. Fred Arcoy ended up with the ball.
It was quite a good burst by the Kiwi forwards, who found a bit of a gap in the Australian defence so soon. It's only minutes old, this test, and it's a quiet opening too, so it's fooled everyone at the moment. I wonder whether one or two of these scrums that break up, there might be the odd punch thrown, but
Scrum almost on the halfway line. Australia winning the ball this time. Wally Lewis. Howie Tamati out-hooked Max Krilich 5-2 in the first test. It looks like the early scrums are going Australia's way this time. John Rebo. They're looking to run at the Australians. Les Boyd. Graham West, the tackler. Kiwi defence holding up well, Des, so far.
Yes, Australia are deeper now. They look like they're going to play the open style.
Greg Brendel flicking it out. Outside him, Wally Lewis back in there. Mal Meninga with his first touch of the ball.
Well, that break really made by the fullback then, Greg Bretnell, coming in, but it's good to see Australia have decided that they're not going to play as flat as New Zealand did at Brisbane. They're going to stand deeper. They've won the first 2 scrums, so that's a problem for the Kiwis.
So Gordon Smith to feed the scrum, New Zealand ball. Already being beaten in the scrums at the early stage. It's a bit of a turnaround. Obviously, the Australian scrum working better than it did in the first test.
And there's a penalty to Australia, a scrum infringement from Howie Tamati. It's an indifferent penalty, which means it's differential 1, so Bretton will kick for touch, but it means that New Zealand are only a couple of metres out on the field of play and under extreme pressure in the opening 5 minutes.
So up now, 10 metres out from the New Zealand line. Australia looking to run and play wide open attacking football. Where's he going to go? Back Bretnell in there. Kerry Bowstead coming running in. Bringing it wide again, the Australians. Wally Lewis with a little fumble there. Mark Graham up and tackling quickly, along with Bruce Gall. Going to spin it wide again, the Australians. He can go back, Les Boyd. Les Boyd gets the pass back. The Australians looking dangerous wherever they've got a little space to move. The game is far wider than it was a couple of weeks ago. Flicking it right along the line, a little fumble there, missing out one player, along to Kerry Bowstead in the end. Bowstead held up.
Very good New Zealand defence here, extremely good. They're containing Australia, still in about the same area away from the try line.
Steve Mortimer with the little chip up. Who's back there and who's going to get under it first? Bretnell's there.
No try.
It's no try. Let's have a look at it again. The chip went up.
Very well executed here, and diving high in the air as the fullback Bretnell, you would have thought that he was virtually onside because it was a high floating kick. He was well and truly ruled offside, and a life for New Zealand too, because it was one of those perfect bomb kicks that Australia is so well known for.
And the ones that Greg Bretnell is so clever at being under when they're high. Graham West. Kevin Tamati. See if New Zealand are going to spin it and make use of their tackles. Bruce Gall, well held. Look to get it away, but they're marking Bruce Gall heavily.
And New Zealand are very deep, even though they're in a fairly difficult situation here. They've got possession, but they're standing deep, and obviously it could be an open game, Tony.
It's starting to look like it has the hallmarks of a wide-open running game. One wonders if New Zealand can compete on an equal footing, if it is that kind of game, Des.
Yes, well, the Kiwis have had 3 penalties to 2, and Australia have won the 2 scrums. New Zealand yet to strike in the scrums. And that's about their best line kick for a while from Gary Kemble.
Another safe and sure one from Gary Kemble. Howie Tamati up there. Broadhurst. Kevin Tamati. He's being tackled hard, Kevin Tamati. They'll spin it wide this time. Mark Broadhurst up there, but they're not really getting a chance to get the ball firing and moving. Managing to hold on to position all right, though, the Kiwis. Graham West. Hard tackle there from Craig Young. Broadhurst flicking it on. Fred Arcoy changing it a little. Olsen Filipina. We might well see a good open running game of football here, Des, because the New Zealanders are looking like they can hold the pass.
That was a good break by Filipina. A little bit disappointing. New Zealand on this side toward us here weren't fanned out for a quick second phase attack, and now I see the back lines are really shallow.
So Steve Mortimer to feed the scrum. New Zealand has it. Gordon Smith tried to nip around there and get it away, but he was well held up. See what they can do with it this time. Bruce Gall knocking it on. That's a little bit of bad luck for New Zealand. We'll see if they can win it back in the scrum. Australia ball.
I notice now with Australia on defence, very, very flat and shallow their back line.
New Zealand have won another scrum. So the scrum count starting to even up a little, and New Zealand getting good position. Olsen Filipina. Harry Tamley flicks it on. Coming wide this time, Fred Arcoy changing it again to put Gary Campbell in the line. Something they looked to do in the first test and did a couple of times successfully. Put Gary Campbell up there to slice into the line. So clever when he's running onto the ball and changing the direction. Fred Arcoy missing out Gordon Smith in there. Putting it on to Dane O'Hara. They'll come back again this way. I think the advantage is being played, so they should have 6 tackles in hand still. Bruce Gall. Gall's lost it forward again. Graham Weston there to aid him and to pick up the ball again, but it was Bruce Gall who lost it forward. The second time he's touched the ball and the second time he's knocked it forward.
Yes, I hope it doesn't stay with Bruce. He sometimes has these off days with his hands. Scrums 2-all and penalties New Zealand 3-2.
Fred Arcoy. Fred Arcoy looking as though that ankle is okay. He's been nursing an ankle injury all week, but passed the fitness test. And really, Fred Arcoy's injury is possibly what cost them a lot in the first test, because he did nothing more than flick it on, having his ankle heavily strapped right from half-time. Mark Graham.
New Zealand very orthodox at the moment. Their attack is just just spinning and not doing too much with the ball at the moment. And here's a drop pass.
A break. It was Gordon Smith that lost it. Australia's going to be very unlucky if they don't score here. Looking for support, trying to get it up. Dane O'Hara back with the tackle along with Gary Prome, the 2 wingers getting back. It was Les Boyd that got away with the break. And now Australia up in an attacking position. John Muggleton. Les Boyd streaking away there from a little mistake. So Australia now turning the tables. Mick Cronin back around to Rebo. Rebo can't find his way through, but they're only metres away. Mortimer, the little chip through. Who's going to get there first? It's dead.
Very good try, Australia. Had New Zealand pinned down. Particularly good try, and didn't they fly? Fortunately, I think for them, as we watch the replay, the halfback now, Mortimer, with that stab kick. But a very fast race then by the Australian fullback.
Just on the inside of the line. In fact, it was Greg Bretnell that got through there. It looked initially as though it had gone dead. Mortimer was chasing through. Bretnell got it, and have a look now. It's only just inside the line. It looked as if it might not have been a try, but Australia are on the board.
Well, the mistake really was the fact that New Zealand attacking and throwing that ball around, with Smith dropping the pass, allowing Boyd to run almost about 70 metres. And through that, they set up their second and third phase attack very, very good indeed. And they had New Zealand a little bit under pressure there. And that kick ahead, they've tried it twice with a very well-executed bomb kick. Bretnell virtually being ruled offside when he went through for the first one, as Cronin will raise the flags easily here in front. And the game is fluctuating a little bit. And only after now, about 17 and a half minutes, it's 5-0 Australia lead. And it could be, as I say, quite a different test match now. Not the same vigour and hard bruising defensive pattern that we saw up at Brisbane. It's more fluent, flowing, and Australia will like that, particularly if they can get their share of ball.
So a tiny mistake allowing Les Boyd to make the initial break, which put them up in an attacking position. Greg Bretnell finished off from Steve Mortimer's little chip ahead. Australia 5, New Zealand 0. I make it 13 minutes gone first half. New Zealand are going to have to pull something out of the bag to come back now with that early disadvantage. The game is going to be a more flowing one. Whether or not they can foot it with Australia on that basis remains to be seen. If the game had stayed tight, it would have been to their advantage. Gary Prome's under that. Bouncing awkwardly for him, but he's got it. Prome looking to run it up. Rebote has him. James Luluai. Can't get the pass away. Taking it out this time, Mark Graham. Graham is going to have to rally his troops now and settle them down. Just a little mistake, and we saw how quickly Australia capitalised on it. Broadhurst flicks the pass back to Kevin Tamati. Tamati can't get it away. They're well held there. Fred O'Coy flicking it on to Gordon Smith that time, and Olsen Filipina outside him, but already they had Filipina covered. He's being marked very heavily, Des.
Yes, very much so. Meninga's been particularly quiet at the moment. That's the big Queensland centre, but I just wonder whether New Zealand is quite so good now at playing this very, very deep attacking game. They're not getting into position quick enough. Australia are, and it's a question really of whether New Zealand can hold their passes.
Gordon Smith jinking and running as he did in the first test, had a superb game there. Mark Graham flicks it on. Fred O'Coy. And again, there's a little question mark there, Des, as Fred O'Coy took a couple of steps there, and I wonder if he is running as freely as he could. There's O'Coy now. He doesn't look to have that initial burst of speed that he's so famous for. Graham West getting the pass back to Kevin Tamati. Filipina flicking it on. James Luluai. O'Hara outside him, comes back inside, trying to get through there, almost did.
So I'm not sure really, Tony, the very deep stance we have there was the ball spinning right across to the far side of the field, at least about 15 to 18 metres from the play the ball to the far wing where O'Hara was, and now we're back to where we were, but on the other side of the field. So we're really not able to penetrate at the moment on basic stuff.
16 minutes gone, first half. Australia leading New Zealand 5-0. Greg Brentnell try converted by Cronin.
Penalties are 4-3 New Zealand, scrums for New Zealand 4-2. But I like this Brentnell. He's impressed me at Brisbane. Very, very quick, and a bit like Campbell, I think, follows the attacking play very, very well indeed, and not a bad left foot kicker.
Australia running around quickly again. Les Boyd, the danger man again. So dangerous from almost nowhere, Australia, when they're up on attack. Now only 15 metres out. Kevin Tamati tackling the wrong man without the ball. Steve Mortimer flicks it on. That's Rowan Hancock playing it prop today. Australia again in attacking position. Steve Mortimer just losing it forward.
That was better defensive play by the Kiwis. They fanned out and they marked man for man. They're letting Les Boyd have a bit of a field day out there. He's not being covered by second row, and Price is being very, very quiet indeed, and it seems to be Boyd the damager.
Les Boyd, certainly the danger man in that Australian pack, has looked so fast when he's had the ball and had an inch to move. Coming back New Zealand's way this time, Gordon Smith has it. Caught by Mortimer very quickly. Having a great battle, the two halfbacks. Mark Graham. Bruce Gall. Strong running from Bruce Gall, and he gets the pass away. Broadhurst there, but covered. Kevin Tamati. Broadhurst flicking it out. But again, the ploy is not working too well, because when they are getting the pass away, when they're managing to flick it up, the man who's receiving is being covered every time. Bruce Gall. Howie Tamati that time receiving. Olsen Filipina still gets the pass up. Fred Arcoy can't pick it up and fumbles a little.
So I think New Zealand's orthodox method of attack has got to change slightly. They're getting well and truly covered, and there are no gaps really appearing at the moment in the Australian side. And thanks to hooking by Howie Tamati, we're at least getting our share of ball.
Another little break. The Australians receiving that time. Steve Mortimer. Only metres short of the line now. Can they hold them up? Australia with 4 tackles in hand. That's right on the line there. They've got to play it back. Australia right up on attack. Can they get through from here? Mortimer flicking it wide. Wally Lewis. Wally Lewis, will he keep going? Back into Mal Meninga. Meninga's still running. Can't reach the line. Couldn't get a pass away. Playing it back this time, going left. Out Hancock. Going to run out of tackles shortly, Australia, but only metres to go. Flicking it back. Mortimer again goes wide to Rebo. Gary Prome has Rebo wrapped up quickly. So the scrum for the 6th tackle, but that was good defence by Gary Prome, wrapping up Rebo very quickly, and Rebo is a dangerous winger indeed.
Yes, New Zealand stretched here, Tony, well and truly. They need to get out of this difficult situation. They're only about 12 metres from the line, and their back line is flat. It has to be now.
Australian ball. Mortimer flicking it out. Wally Lewis, and back inside Cronin. Cronin loses it forward. Smith can't get to it. Olsen Filipina back there to tidy up. Fred Arcoy. Oh, Meninga has him right against the post there. A little collision with the post.
I thought that was good play by Lindop there. He allowed New Zealand the advantage, knowing that they might have lost a scrum, and even though it only ended about less than a metre out from the field of play, he gave New Zealand the full advantage to try and clear their line. They weren't able to, but good work by the referee.
So the line kick doesn't go anywhere near the line. Brentnell. This Australian side looking like they're going to be rampant if they're given the inch to move. Les Boyd again. Having a good game, Les Boyd. Mortimer flicks it out. Muggleton, try scorer in the first test. Brentnell. Ball goes up. Who's going to get there first? The scramble for it. Goes back eventually to James Luluai. The scrum's on the 22-metre line.
Territorially, it's Australians' game today.
New Zealand ball this time. See what they can do with it. Gary Kemble up there in the line quickly. Mark Graham. New Zealand are going to need to hold on to the ball for their 6 tackles to do something with it. They're gaining no ground when they have it, trying to spin it, but really going nowhere. Australia have been dominant. 22 minutes gone, first half. Australia leading New Zealand 5-0. Luluai flicks it out again. Dane O'Hara trying to come inside. This time makes a little more ground, beats 1 tackle, caught by the 2nd. I wonder if that's going to get a little predictable too, Des.
Yes. We're just not quite flowing at the moment.
And back wide, Graham West.
In fact, I think too, Graham West now with that ball, he's not able to stand up and turn it left or right. He's not getting players running off him, and I thought even Filipina, the tackling is very sure of Australia this time.
Australia ball, Mortimer. Mortimer held quickly by Gordon Smith, the two having a great duel, the halfbacks. Ron Hancock. Australia now 30 metres out from the New Zealand line, playing attacking football, throwing it around. Craig Young flicking it on. Ray Price in there. Les Boyd and Ray Price, we expected to be the danger men in the pack. Cronin. Olsen Filipina hit him hard, but he didn't manage to stop him. And this is Wally Lewis flicking it back into Rebo, going inside and getting the pass back. Olsen Filipina coming up hard and knocking into Cronin, but Cronin just bumped off and got the pass away. Hancock. Little chip going up there. He's going to be under a Gary Kemble. Is he safe? He is. He's got it and held. Mal Meninga up to get Kemble quickly. Kemble safe under the high ball. This is Gary Prome. Howie Tamati. West. Howie Tamati. Hard, sure tackling by the Australians. Bruce Gall bumping into one tackle off Les Boyd, almost through the second.
I think the most ground gained would be by the last player then, and that was our second rower, Bruce Gore. We're struggling a little bit to try and clear and even to gain 5 or 10 metres. The defence is stronger at the moment than New Zealand's attack.
New Zealand ball. Scrum's about even so far. Going to count for you in a minute. Gordon Smith. Olsen Filipina. Filipina going himself. Stepping through a tackle. Eventually being held by 3 men. Fred Arcoy looking to put it back on the inside again. The Australian tackling, Des, is superb.
Yes, I think our positional attacking play by our forwards not as good today. Scrum 7-5, New Zealand's favour, but our play on attack isn't quite so good. We're running very individual. We're not sort of linking up.
Now, is advantage going to apply there? Now, the referee has decided that the knock-on will be played. Bruce Gall that time, I noticed, Des managed to get a pass away even in the tackle.
Yes.
Not that it went to anybody, but the idea was right. Australia making advantage here. Cronin away with a break. Can he keep going? Gordon Smith with a wonderful tackle, getting across so quickly. Rebo. Australia just rampant. 15 metres out. 10 metres out now. Australia right up on attack. Whipping it around and throwing it in all directions. Les Boyd trying to get that tackle away. Wrapped up. Trying to get the ball away in the tackle. Mortimer. Flicking it out to Rebo. And outside Rebo is Price. Devon Tamati picking up Price. Mortimer. Hancock. Back across again. Brentnell in there. Cronin couldn't pick it up. Mal Meninga. Are they going to stop Meninga? He's only metres short of the line. And Dane O'Hara catches it.
Well, thanks to Dane O'Hara too, because he fended off Luluai with ease. And he's hurt Meninga.
Let's have another look at the tackle. Kemble couldn't get him. Dane O'Hara finally came across and managed to wrap him up and crawled across and got him again. But Mal Meninga was injured in that tackle.
Certainly wasn't a very good-looking tackle by O'Hara, but it did the trick. I looked at New Zealand's defensive play then against Australia, and they're calling somebody on. I think it's either Meninga is going to be taken off and Steve Rogers could come on. What a replacement. The great Steve Rogers, who was placed in reserves after what they considered indifferent form. To me, he's one of the outstanding centres that Australia have had for a long time. But getting back to the New Zealand style of defensive play, it took 3 play the balls before they finally, with calls from Kemble and centres to get out and really span right out as Rogers comes on. As we watch this replay again, and looks back to Steve Rogers now, who's just trotting on.
And the crowd really rising to Steve Rogers. Noel Meninga is going to go off, playing in his first test. He's lasted 28 minutes in his first test. And what a man to have on the benches to bring on, Des.
Yes, well, I think both of us, Tony, we were talking, we thought that we didn't think Meninga would stay on the entire game.
It's his wrist that he's hurt. So Steve Rogers is on in the back line, and the combination of Rogers and Cronin once again playing for Australia. An untidy looking scrum coming around again, only metres short Australia. Kerry Bowstead. Not a niggle going into the tackles. Wally Lewis flicks it on. Cronin. Rogers, first touch of the ball. Steve Rogers cutting inside. Olsen, Filipina and Gordon Smith finally getting him. The crowd love him. Crowd again, John Rebo gets it out. Cronin. Cronin flicks it on. Mortimer. Again flicking it on. Steve Mortimer. What a good pass. Wally Lewis.
Oh, great tackling, New Zealand. They're in trouble.
The fences of New Zealand really being stretched here. Rebo. Another good tackle, that time from Broadhurst. Whipping it up away, and the ball goes forward, and Mark Graham tidies up. New Zealand have possession. So a little let off for them again. Defence is really being stretched.
That's their best defensive work they've done in this game, New Zealand. And there's the first 5-metre penalty. He's caught Rogers too. They've all been so good, these players today. I'm surprised at them.
30 minutes gone in the first half. Australia leading New Zealand 5-0. One converted try. So some pressure off New Zealand as Gary Kemble makes the line kick. Howie Tamati up there to play it. Kevin Tamati. Been a hard test, and perhaps it's only the extreme New Zealand defence just in the last few minutes that's kept the scoreline to 5-0. Australia really have dominated this first half. Flicking it wide again, Mark Graham. Howie Tamati. Fred Arcoy. Arcoy starting to run a little better now than he did in the early stages of the game. Perhaps that ankle's still a little tender. Broadhurst. Bruce Gall. Gall putting Broadhurst in, but well covered. 6 tackles.
Well, there's only 10 minutes to go before half-time, and a game played on a perfect ground at the Sydney Cricket pitch here, and only one try, one real break in the game by Les Boyd. Defence of New Zealand good, struggling at times, but good enough, and getting a lot of ball from the scrums too to help them.
The scrum penalty going New Zealand's way.
Well, that's a penalty then against the Australian captain. The crowd here not liking it. But it gives New Zealand a real chance here for Campbell to aim for the corner. And New Zealand should get right on attack.
Can't have a shot from the scrum penalty, so Gary Kemble, that's really quite a conservative kick, Des.
Yes.
It was safe enough. So on the 22-metre line now, Kevin Tamati running it up. Graham West. That's far more like the running we expect to see from Graham West.
So Australia threw a penalty away. They conceded a penalty. They didn't want to try. They had one player out on the ground, which looks like it's our man Rowan Hancock, and he was out of action. They decided to concede that particular penalty. And New Zealand were right in position to a lovely break then by West too, and bad luck for New Zealand. Maybe a try coming up. Instead, here's Smith to have a shot at goal. But clever work too, you might think. I think, Tony, a bit of professionalism by Australia. A bit under pressure then, and quickly just decided to toss a penalty away and instead of a try.
It was quite surprising to see them, Des, after having dominated the game for so long on attack, When it turned against them just slightly there, they looked like they had some holes in the defence.
Yes, this is one time their cover wasn't quite so good. And, well, it's certainly kickable for Smith. It's slightly to the left of the centre of the field, so it's right for a right footer, if you put it that way, on the 22. So these are the ones he's good at.
Gordon Smith, from the 5 games on tour, has kicked 19 goals from 28 attempts. And that's 20 goals from 29 attempts. So New Zealand back with some sort of respectability.
Yes, I think 5-2 to trail. A little bit flattering for the Kiwis, really. They've certainly been under a great deal of strain, and the credit, their defence has lapsed. It's managed to close up a bit, and it's a close test on a ground really that's ideal for fast open football.
34 minutes gone, first half. Australia leading New Zealand 5-2. 1 try to 0. Gordon Smith. Dane O'Hara. Looking like he's going to run well. Stepped out of 2 tackles there. Really the first chance we've seen that he's had a good run in the match. And they're going to throw it around. James Luluwai. They flick it wide. They're in with a chance there. Gordon Smith. Kevin Tamati gets the pass away. Howie Tamati taking it up.
That kick seems to have done wonders for the Kiwis.
Again, the same kind of thing, a pass going awry. Mark Broadhurst trying to get the pass up, and Les Boyd up there very quickly.
Yes, he's becoming a bit skilled at this intercept move of his.
Quite a battle going on that front row between Kevin Tamati and Rowan Hancock. It's Australian ball. Wally Lewis putting it back. Greg Brentnell up there. Fred Arcoy with a good tackle. Australia looking to run it again. Price. Just inside New Zealand's half. Craig Young. Are we going to see some more running football now, I think? Brentnell just flicking it on to Steve Rogers, but the pass was forward.
Right, Joes, I was looking then at Fred Lindop, and I wondered how he was at least 12 metres away, and he ruled out a forward pass. He must have a very acute eye. Oh, yes, look at that on the television.
Very obvious.
No one you could see that. Yes, Tony, yeah. I wondered how he was so good at assessing it, but he's a very skilled international.
Steve Rogers perhaps just a little anxious to get into the game, running very quickly onto the ball, but it was a very obviously forward pass. So New Zealand now with 6 tackles in hand. What can they do with it? Are they going to keep running it and spinning it? Gordon Smith. West.
Well, they tried the wide move then, I thought, Tony, with West way out, and it didn't quite click.
I see they're taking a lot more care with tackling West now and making sure that he can't get that ball away. He's so tall he can reach over the top of most tacklers. Howie Tamati.
We've got Australia a little bit now worried. Our second phase attack is quicker.
Smith flicks it round. Fred Arcoy. Olsen Filipina. Kevin Tamati. Olsen Filipina looking like he's going to run a bit more freely, Des.
This is our first bomb.
Fred Arcoy tackled just as he took it. Greg Brentnell was safe under it. Graham West was up there, but Brentnell was safe. So Australia running it. Kerry Bowstead.
Well, that was a good tackle then. We were pretty well scattered out there too, and a good tackle by Gaul.
Rebo. Mortimer putting it back. That's Muggleton.
We're actually worrying Australia, Tony, now. They're still inside their 22. They're hard on defence and having a problem.
Craig Young. Kiwis tackling is good. Getting right up on the man very quickly. Not giving them anywhere to move. Cronin getting that pass away still. Flicking it again. Rogers in the line there. Brentnell couldn't pick it up. And he's out.
So there's Australia from one side to the other and still inside their 22. I sometimes wonder in this game now, where it was so quiet an opening, that New Zealand may not quite have had the confidence. They seemed to give me that feeling last night, but they're certainly playing so much better now.
I think of all the tackles and all the hard tackles we've seen in the game, Des, Gary Crome has been about the hardest and most effective tackler we've seen. He's tackled Rebo out of the game. Ball going in, and Howie Tamati has won it for New Zealand. Gordon Smith there. Around on him so quickly was John Muggleton, and he's been penalised.
Here's a chance also for Smith to have a shot at goal. As I see Mark Graham come over to speak to him, wondering whether or not it was. It wasn't. It's not a shot at goal, so therefore it was a scrum infringement. I thought
penalty arising from the scrum, so the line kick. Gary Kemble puts it out. Again, conservative. But running up inside Australia's half now. They're going to spin it. Gordon Smith puts it back the other way. Mark Graham in. Gets the pass back. Broadhurst. New Zealand looking so much more confident now as they run it. Olsen Filipina flicks it on to Luluai. Luluai puts it back. Fred Arcoy. Really keen to run it now, the Kiwis. Graham West with two men up running with him. Plenty of support from the Kiwis. Broadhurst. Little pass back to Mark Graham, but he was covered. So only 15 metres out now, the Kiwis running into Howie Tamati. This is good attacking football from the Kiwis.
it's the very they play best now, only 4 metres short of the line.
Broadhurst, long pass back. Who's there to pick it up? Gordon Smith trying to get an awkward bounce. Smith picked it up.
It was their first mistake they made by not quite finding the man with the ball, but good play, New Zealand, and the first quarter all Australia and the last 10 minutes all New Zealand. It's still just a one-try difference.
40 minutes up now. They must be right on the half-time. Australia leading New Zealand 5-0. 5-2, sorry. Only the 3 points in it. And again, New Zealand have won the scrum. But Mr. Lindop's not happy with it, says put it down again. Howie Tamati's having a field day against Krilic.
Yes, he's done well. The backlines are so flat now, too. There's feet up, says the referee, against the Australian captain. It's Max Krilic won't be happy. It still gives New Zealand a last chance before half-time.
So again, it'll be Kemble to put it out. He'll try and get it as close to the corner as possible, and they're in with a chance and a good attacking possession here. The Kiwis will want to play it quickly. Howie Tamati. The crowd is really enjoying this little spurt by the Kiwis. Kevin Tamati in there. 5 tackles left. Less than 10 metres away now. Howie Tamati. Mark Graham, and that's the hooter for half-time. And so at half-time, after Australia dominated the first corner, the Kiwis have come back with real fire and verve and started to spin the ball around. Australia with a try to Greg Brendel, converted by Cronin, 5. And New Zealand with a kick to Gordon Smith, 2. 5-2 at half-time. And what a match this is turning out to be, Des.
Yes, well, all predictions were wrong. We expected fireworks in the opening 10 minutes. It didn't happen. In fact, everyone was so quiet. They were perfect footballers out there. The back line and everyone wanting to play deep, getting away from the 5 metres. And the penalties have been won by New Zealand 9-3. The scrums are almost spot on. New Zealand just one ahead of Australia 9-8. So certainly a lot of scrummaging and fewer penalties today, and a totally from the start, and New Zealand, for reasons unknown, whether they expected fireworks, whether they expected Kevin Tamati to throw a few, or what was going to happen, I don't know, but to me it was the quietest and perfect opening start to a match, except it lacked the real punch power that we saw at Brisbane. The result was a totally different test, with both sides preparing to spin it and wanting to stand deep, and I didn't think it suited New Zealand's style. Their second phase play and their regrouping on attack or even on defence was slower than Australia, and they allowed Australia, particularly that first quarter, to get into the game and dictate a certain trend. We even lost the first 2 scrums, and then Howie settled down to win his share of ball, plus with Mark Graham coming out now leading the New Zealand team, plus the fact that we won the penalties by 9-3 made a huge difference, I thought, for New Zealand, but not, would you say, until Smith did kick the penalty with 8 minutes to go. Did the Kiwis start to look likely, but yet to score that one try. Our attack got better, our positional play was just that much faster than we had seen in that first opening quarter, and slowly but surely I thought the real confidence and this good New Zealand side too started to settle down. But I still think the marvel is a game that's been played at a fast clip and open style, one try only, and that from a very nice bomb kick. It was so effective indeed, and they're certainly good at it, the Australians. To think that we only trail by 5-2 at halftime, and this 10 minutes to me, Tony, I think this is the one that could decide which way this test will go.
It'll be Olsen Filipina to start the second half for New Zealand. Olsen Filipina having a comparatively quiet game as Fred Lindop blows the whistle for the restart. And back there in the big line kick. And back they go for it. So the scrum on the 22-metre line in Australia territory. It'll be Australia to feed the scrum, but with Howie Tamate's record in the first half, he may win it again for them here. Not happy with that scrum.
Here's New Zealand's chance too, because they've got Australia inside their 22, a scrum infringement. The captain's most unhappy about matters there, as also is the halfback, Mortimer. The result is now New Zealand with Campbell kicking toward the corner. Can only be about 10 metres away from the Australian line, and it's a repetition of the first half.
So
the Kiwis.
Midway Australian line at 22. New Zealand wanting to run it. The Kiwis running in. Olsen Filipina off Gordon Smith. They run it again. Bruce Gall almost running into Olsen Filipina there on his way through. Howie Tamati, Gordon Smith, West still looking to get that pass away, but the Australians have got wise to him, in particular John Muggleton. They've been tackling him high. Smith flicks it on again. Mark Graham. Graham can see a gap. Can he get through there? James Lillaway outside him.
Because they fended it down Australia. And it wasn't Graham, it was a chance. Have a look at the replay with Graham now. You watch the Australian arm come to fend down Graham's pass. There's the arm fend down, and the ball bounces unkindly for Lillaway. It's still in action, and if he could fall that on that ball, there you are, no try, and New Zealand's first opportunity astray. He only had to make contact, ball and ground.
So saving that for Australia was Steve Mortimer, who fended the ball down and was there to make sure that James Lillaway didn't get a clear chance at pressing it. Australia with the penalty this time. Greg Brentnell for the line. And a chance to get Australia off the defensive. That's a good long kick for Brentnell. 25-30 metres. So Australia now in New Zealand's half. What a changing game it's been. Tackling from Graham West. New Zealanders will want to get back into the game. They had their chance, they missed it. Wally Lewis. Good tackling again. Craig Young. Australian coach Frank Stanton sitting on the benches, looking very anxious indeed. He would have expected a bigger lead by now, I'm sure. That's a good little break. Kerry Bowstead in there. Can they stop him? Gets the pass up. And the other winger, John Rebo, coming in but couldn't hold on to the ball.
Well, they had a chance too, Australia then, and I saw you watch the replay now. They had New Zealand gone here as they veer in, and the pass was on, and it was almost a clear run with that ball bouncing. Only Campbell to beat, but Campbell's a bit close in. So Australia also have bombed a chance.
A chance each lost. New Zealand winning the scrum. Gordon Smith being dumped very heavily. Gordon Smith losing the ball, but the referee says play on. This is Bruce Gall. Steps out of a tackle, gets the pass away still. Fred Arcoy. This is a fired-up Kiwi side now. Bruce Gall having a great game. Kevin Tamati. After a couple of mistakes very early on in the piece, Bruce Gall has had an excellent game since. Howie Tamati. Pick it up. Are they going to run it wide? Broadhurst puts it inside to West, but West can't hold on to it. The ball is gone. Play advantage, says the referee. And again, New Zealand have got it. Bruce Gall in there, but they'll play the knock on.
Well, both sides, their handling, which had been quite good. A little bit of pressure. I think they've had the message at half-time. You've got to score in the next 10 minutes. Oh, she's on too between Kevin Tamati, as we expected, and Hancock in that front row. We've waited for it for 40 minutes. And I see the line umpire flew in very fast.
Let's have a look at it again. Kevin Tamati on this side, number 11, is having a little go with Rowan Hancock. And eventually got 3 or 4 or 5 right hands in there before Mark Graham came in to pull him off.
Actually,
sort it out.
I think it was Krilitic, really, and we've got the penalty too.
So Howie Tamati, New Zealand running up now into Australian territory. That's the halfway line there. Howie Tamati putting it back. Bruce Gall. Good determined running from Bruce Gall again. Howie Tamati. Fred Arcoy. Muggleton, the tackler. Spinning it wide again. Broadhurst. Crowd really rising to this New Zealand side. Gary Kemble almost lost it there. But they've got it again. New Zealand still with possession. Running it up. Good little pass away to Mark Graham from Graham West, and Mark Graham almost getting the pass up. But in the gap was Greg Brentnell.
Tried to sight Howie Tamati then. He didn't sight him at all. The call must have been on for Graham, and he just fired it. And unfortunately, of course, it's gone to the Australian fullback.
Australia trying to get out of their own half again now. The game really seesawing. What an exciting game it's turning out to be. Australia in their own half, trying to get out. Mortimer flicks it on. Trying to run it wide now, but they're not going anywhere. That's Cronin. Cronin gets it back again to Brentnell. Brentnell on it, losing it forward with Steve Mortimer. Play the advantage, says the referee. So 6 tackles in hand for New Zealand. Howie Tamati has it. Bruce Gall. Gall running it up again. Bumping into the first tackler, Rowan Hancock.
This is desperate stuff now. Both sides are trying for that one move, that one break to score the try that could set this seal in the game, really.
Fred Arcoy flicks it on. Broadhurst. Broadhurst trying to run it up and turning round to try and get the pass away, but he was wrapped up. At least they're looking to turn and try and get it away. Kevin Tamati. Howie Tamati. Smith flicks it on. Fred Arcoy putting in James Lulaway on the inside, and a break from James Lulaway. 3 tackers. Can he keep going? Lulaway's got Kemble can't quite get there.
Oh, superb New Zealand. Quite superb, James. You've had a quiet tour, but what a tremendous burst, and just could not. Neither could get through then. And Filipano, incidentally, was held back by the back of the jersey, but no one sighted him. And as he tried to link up with Kemble, who was inside James Lulaway, he went that fast, James, I think, that he lost really support. And that's quite a brilliant move. But the game is open, Tony. Both sides now, their defence is not as good as their attack.
And that's the fire we've been looking for from the man who was rated in England as one of the world's best centres, James Lulaway, who has been so quiet on tour. And that's the sort of thing he's capable of. He is so fast, given an inch to move. What a superb little run by James Lulaway. Just a shame he couldn't quite pull it off. Australia now looking to get out of trouble. Steve Mortimer well held by Gordon Smith. Trying to run it out of their own half. They're inside their own 22 so far. They're not making any ground. Muggleton. They'll run it again. Craig Young. Krilic sticking it out wide again. Wally Lewis doubling round. Trying to put Cronin in, but they're going to go the other way. It's Rebo. John Rebo, the winger. Can they catch him? He stepped through right out of 2. Rebo still going. Finally, Dan O'Hara holds him up, but he gets the pass away. Price flicks it on. Back in the back line again. This is Kerry Bowstead. Bundled out on the side. Again, wonderful tackling. And good cover by Gary Kemble. But doesn't this Australian side look so dangerous when they get away with a little run? Kerry Bowstead there just bundled out by Gary Kemble coming across so fast. So back inside New Zealand's 22 now.
That was against Gordon Smith then.
Playing it quickly. Lewis again, the double round. The same move again. That's Steve Rogers. Can he get the pass up? Held by Lulaway. They're going to look to run it wide again. Rebo. Rebo gets it outside, and Price Kevin Tamati holds on to Price.
We're in trouble at the moment, real trouble, New Zealand.
Just yards short of the New Zealand line now. What a turnaround.
Knock-on, says the referee, by the dummy half. Fortunate New Zealand, very, very fortunate. The crowd not liking it on the hillside of the Sydney Cricket Ground. But New Zealand forwards looked a bit tired then, the pressure really on them.
This game has just changed from end to end with good, exciting, running, wide-open football from both sides. And who wouldn't be tired after that sort of football? 10 minutes gone in the second half. Australia leading New Zealand 5-2. Coming back New Zealand's way, Gordon Smith's on it. And the penalty going New Zealand's way from the scrum. So a chance to make some more ground.
That's one penalty they really wanted to.
Hands in the scrum, was it, Des?
Yes, hands in the scrum by Australia. New Zealand actually won the strike.
Gordon Smith just diving into it there, so the kick's along. Gary Prome into Howie Tamati playing it. Broadhurst. And a chance now for New Zealand to run outside their own 22. Nobody's been confined anywhere for very long in the second half. Kevin Tamati. The penalty was against Price.
He's not allowing him to play the ball. The referee is trying to speed up the game a little bit. It's becoming a very fast third quarter, and particularly so. And Filipano now is going to try and gain ground. We're not gaining too much meterage down the field with our line kicks.
It's a fairly shallow kick. It's only made him about 10 or 12 metres. Howie Tamati. Broadhurst. Both sides looking tired. Bruce Gall pushes off the first tackle again, gets the pass up. Howie Tamati, they're in a chance to run. Fred Arcoy putting James Luluway in there. Luluway running straight into Steve Rogers. Kevin Tamati. Pass out again. Graham West looking to get it away, but they've got him wrapped up high, making sure he can't get the pass away. Howie Tamati. Fred Arcoy just slipping there. Mark Graham couldn't pick up the pass. Rowan Hancock hopped in there, and Rowan Hancock has been injured.
That was fortunate for New Zealand, really, because they had that flip pass back between Fred Arcoy and Mark Graham, and a knock-on incurred as well as a player being hurt. It was a bit of a break for the New Zealand side then. But a tremendous third quarter start, Tony. That's one of the fastest I've seen. Both sides looking as though they could score a try. You see, there's Hancock down on the ground.
It was Bruce Gall coming up on him so quickly. I think he probably caught a knee. But it's given both sides a little chance for a breather. Again, the scrum penalty going Australia's way.
It was Gordon Smith that time. The New Zealand halfback putting it underneath his hooker's feet. And Australia should get inside the Kiwis' 22.
So Greg Bremthal with the line kick. He always makes good yardage. And they are up inside the 22 now. So Australia, 6 tackles in hand with a chance to attack hard. See if the Kiwi defence is going to hold up as it has for most part of the game.
New Zealand have got to go in now. Their forwards have got to hit them hard and drive Australia back. They can't stay and wait.
Hancock plays it back to Krilic. Krilic putting it wide again. See if the tackling's going to hold up. Mortimer. Mortimer trying to do a little quick double round there. Was caught by Mark Graham. Krilic spins it wide. Wally Lewis keeps it going. Rogers trying to get in there. Cronin still got it. And New Zealand getting it. Bruce Gall away with a little run. This is a chance for the Kiwis now. Stolen the ball, Bruce Gall. James Luluway.
Well, that was a New Zealand break, really. They were lucky there to get it off Cronin.
See what the Kiwis can do with the tackles left. Great battle going on in the wings there. Gary Prome having an excellent game, trying to assert dominance over his opposite numbers. Broadhurst. Broadhurst again being the workhorse, taking the ball up. A little kick coming up from Fred Arcoy.
It was a bad kick then, Tony. That puts us right back inside the 22. And not able to find touch at all. Looking a little bit not quite so professional at that kick.
Going to be Gordon Smith to feed the scrum. New Zealand ball. Let's see if Howie Tamati can keep up his good strike rate. Scrum being turned round. New Zealand have it. 6 tackles in hand now, and a chance to get outside their 22. They've been confined there for just a little while. Mark Graham. Graham West gets the pass back, an untidy pass. Eventually Howie Tamati picks it up, but it could have gone anywhere.
It's a count actually.
Howie Tamati playing it himself. Gordon Smith. Now New Zealand forwards just a little slow to get there. Starting to slow down, perhaps tiring a little. Olsen Filipina steps out of 1. Into the second, and eventually held by 3, but gets the pass away. Gary Kemble. Broadhurst puts it inside. Good little run from Fred Arcoy.
It was a good move, Tony. They switched it to try and go up centre field like Bruce Gall is, and they've got Australia a bit worried on this mid-centre attack.
It's good news and bad news because Fred Arcoy is injured. As Les Boyd picks up play and gets Australia in position, Fred Arcoy is injured.
It's that ankle, Tony.
Muggleton, the try scorer in the first test. Running hard. I wonder if the Kiwis are starting to run out of steam a little. Well, that tackle was late. Bruce Gall up there. Seems to have gone unnoticed. They'll carry on. Another late tackle from Graham West. Threadnell putting it wide.
Well, the Kiwis are hitting them very hard out there. There's a few sick Australians, and Fred Arcoy is limping, but going back.
Dane O'Hara tying up Kerry Bowstead there nicely, but Graham West's last 2 tackles have been late. This is Steve Rogers in again. Where's he got to go? Steve Rogers trying to get the pass back, and does to Krilich. Last tackle for Australia. Only meters short of the line. There are the posts. Price, can he get through? There's Price. Hey, Price.
And listen to the roar of the Sydney Cricket Ground. The flags are waving. There's tremendous excitement. And that could be the winning break for Australia. Have a look at this move again. A very good Australian try. New Zealand always under trouble in the last 2 seconds. There's Price, the man that didn't make the first test through injury. And he's certainly set the seal on. As we look at it again now, end on. But New Zealand lacking in numbers at the moment.
A little pass slipped up to Ray Price. And he was in a tackle from Olsen Filipina, but he had enough momentum to get across there. Ray Price. He may just have set the seal. 17 minutes gone, nearly 18 minutes in the second half. And Mick Cronin to put some more points on the board. Flags are up and it's there. Australia 10, New Zealand 2. 18 minutes gone, second half.
So that's the 3rd Australian try in the 2 tests, and we've only got about 21 minutes of play remaining in this game, or 22, and New Zealand yet to score their first try. But a great 3rd quarter, and both sides had chances, and very good football indeed. As I said, the defence became lesser of the 2. The attacks by both sides were better than the defence, and in the end it was Australia, and that last bit just clicking.
Olsen Filipina restarts. Rebo trying to run it up, half-hearted tackle and another one. Rebo runs out of the second. Eventually Olsen Filipina and Howie Tamati pick him up. Now Australia wanting to run it still. Wanting more points on the board. Cronin. And Price again, way out there, roving, looking for work.
And we've thrown a penalty here with a loose arm.
Ray Price, the man who probably has made the most successful transition from Union, played 7 Union tests for Australia and has now played 15 tests in the other code in rugby league. And what a difference he's made, roving out wide and picking up passes from Mick Cronin.
And there's a player injured behind Cronin. There, an Australian player just sitting down on the sideline. But Cronin, the best percentage kicker in rugby league, in the world today of rugby league. Quite an outstanding kicker. Hasn't been quite so good on defence today, has let a few tackles go through him, but what a great match-winning kicker Cronin is. He, as I say, averages around about 80%. We were at a 67% success rate, which is particularly high when you take all his goal attempts in Test football.
So this may just put it out of reach for the Kiwis. Bagged away, and it's not there, and the Australians may have a try out of that. They're claiming one.
It was close.
It was very close indeed. Australia 10, New Zealand 2, 20 minutes gone, second half. Bruce Gall.
I think on his game today, Tony, he'll be one of the players that the Australian scouts out here will want to sign on. Gall has had a tremendous game today. Did indicate to me just prior to this tour that he was keen to make a success. And he's certainly shown it. He's put out Tony Cole in the second row from the New Zealand tour of 80. He's made it now 2 years later. And a good hard running forward.
Australia ball. Wally Lewis changing the direction. Graham West has him eventually. They're looking to run it some more. Steve Mortimer couldn't pick it up. Steve Rogers does. Brentnall. Mark Graham, the tackler. Grillage trying to get himself into the tackle. Making no real ground. So Australia now, 30 metres out. Nicely picked up pass. Beautifully picked up Max Grillage. Gary Bowstead waiting. Bowstead flicks it up. Mortimer puts the pass back again. Muggleton flicking it inside. Bowstead couldn't pick it up. New Zealand have possession. That's a let-off for them. Howie Tamati. Kiwi forward starting to look a little tired. Gordon Smith. Kevin Tamati. Graham West. Getting the pass up nicely. Howie Tamati away with a little break. Graham West got the pass up beautifully. Bruce Gall. Flick it on, Fred Arcoy. I think his ankle is still injured. Mark Broadhurst looking to get a pass away. Takes the tackle. Gordon Smith flicking it round. James Lulaway. Mark Graham.
Notice for the first time in the New Zealand forward pack when West made his dab, then nobody went with him, and it was only his sheer strength that enabled him to flick it back into Howie Tamati, and that gives a sign of a bit of wear and tear amongst the New Zealand forwards, which is their dominant force really in their play. Their attacking backline is not quite so good. Their forward defensive play is excellent indeed, but there's a weariness. I think that try has taken the edge off them.
Gordon Smith feeding it. Both hookers striking well before the ball was in. Brentnall. Tackle from Kemble again. Brentnall's hurt his leg. Price. Australian players laying all over the ground. It's been a hard test match and a tiring one. Who can last the best will tell. 23 minutes gone. Australia leading New Zealand. Nice steal. And lost again. Olsen Philippine managing to pick up the ball there, but losing it again. Australia in possession. Wally Lewis. Had a quiet game, Wally Lewis, today. Rebo. Broadhurst has him. Grillage. Mortimer. New Zealand forwards looking very tired indeed now. Muggleton still tackling and toiling in there. Mortimer flicks it up. Another late tackle, and now this is Kerry Boustead. Boustead's going to be away, and a simple try in the end. A little break from a little gap left in there, and the Australian crowd goes wild here as Australia go into the lead further. 13 points to 2. 24 minutes gone in the game. Kerry Boustead making the little break.
Well, when you look at it, you're unaware, I suppose, when you're looking at this, that New Zealand is well outplayed on the blind side, and that's been one of our weak factors in international football. We just don't get across to cover those extra metres and block it. If you look at end on, there's hardly a player out here. There was about 4 Australians. They cut out 2 with a pass, and Boustead only had to veer in. He had wrong-footed Campbell, which he had him caught, and fullback has little chance then of stopping it. But that certainly is an easy try, but made really by bad positional play by New Zealand on the blind side. So that 8-point difference, or the 8.5 margin given for Australia, if you wanted to back Australia now, looks very, very safe indeed. And New Zealand really will have to rally. It looks like Whittaker's coming on, and Fred Arcoy, as in the first test, has had to leave the field.
So the replacement back for New Zealand is John Whittaker. That's Rowan Hancock who's gone off. And the Australian forward replacement will be Rod Morris. Filipina restarts. Price. Starting to fall Australia's way now, and I wonder if the fitness isn't telling. It's been a hard, open running game. Knocked forward there from Muggleton. Rowan Hancock doesn't look a happy man at all on the bench.
He certainly had a hard test series against New Zealand, Hancock. Knocked out in the first one, and again today having a pretty hard, grueling struggle amongst the New Zealand pack.
Howie Tamati, New Zealand with a chance to do something here. Broadhurst.
A try, Tony. That's what I want to see New Zealand do. Score 1 try in these tests, in this test series.
Kevin Tamati. Well marked. 15 is Rod Morris. James Lulawine, a little double round for Graham West. West well covered. Broadhurst. Inside the Australian 22 now, the Kiwis. It's still looking tired. Graham, Mark Graham, wrong foots a man and hops through a tackle. Become his hallmark in Australia. Captaining Norths. West flicks it on. Kevin Tamati.
That was bad play by Kevin. He came back in field. He has it on the other open side here. Actually, it was a 4-3/4 stance in midfield, and he veered back straight to where the play the ball area was, running into defence, making it easier for Australia to knock over the New Zealanders.
Steve Mortimer to feed the scrum. Referee didn't like it. The penalty going to the Kiwis.
Well, it gives us a chance here, Tony.
Gordon Smith playing it himself. That's 10 metres out from the Australian line. They could be in with a try here. Howie Tamati flicks it back. Broadhurst. The dummy. Graham West was there, but Broadhurst took the tackle.
Australian is injured, plus I don't know whether a knee went in there. Let's have a look on the replay what happened there with how he's sending it back to Broadhurst, who sells a bit of a dummy and unload it to West, then going straight ahead and being caught.
The penalty came shortly after that. We're not going to see it on the replay, but the referee clearly signalled a headbutt on Max Krilich by Mark Broadhurst.
So in the second half, penalties favouring New Zealand by 6-3 in the second half, and the scrums better for Australia this time, 4-2.
Max Krilich getting his head straight. There's the offender. There's the penalty, and it's made good ground for Australia, almost up to the halfway line now. Krilich flicking it back. Craig Young. They're running from Australia. Kerry Bowstead couldn't pick it up. He was covered. Mortimer's away. Caught by West. Australians looking a little lax now in where they're putting it. They haven't got the same fire and verve when they're throwing it around, but they've got sufficient points in hand.
Yes, I think they're very confident, Tony. They're not worrying now. The test is theirs, 15-2 up, and why get yourself knocked around? There's a tour coming up to England shortly, and they've got New Zealand under real pressure as well. And even their second phase attack, their play, they're slowly getting into position. They're not worrying too much. I still think, Tony, that first move there when James Luluai just couldn't dot down straight after the kickoff in the second half was a telling factor from New Zealand's point of view. As again, this time it's Gordon Smith penalised for tossing underneath Howie Tambury's feet.
Those of you in New Zealand who are waiting for the 6:30 news, it will not be at 6:30, but it will follow the conclusion of this match. 31 minutes gone in the second half of this match. Australia leading New Zealand 15-2. Now 15 metres out from the New Zealand line. Playing it around, little double round from Mortimer. There's Boyd. Boyd puts it out and gets the pass away. Wally Lewis. And on the way, Gordon Smith was flattened. Wally Lewis, the standoff, finishing off the try. Gordon Smith was in there with a tackle and caught a bump somewhere. Wally Lewis finished it off nicely. Australia 18, New Zealand 2.
It's a very good try here, how Steve Water really cuts out play. And there you see Mark Graham getting beaten well and truly. Kemble diving, also not able to get to Wally Lewis, who's a very strong standoff, and it's Kemble that's lying on the ground. He might have caught a boot, I think, in the head, but it's certainly now the score really flattering Australia. Both sides not playing good football, you might say, in the last 10 or 12 minutes, particularly when it went to 15-2. Now it's 20-2 for Australia, and a real shock, I think, too, for even the expert critics here. They indicated that the score would be particularly close and a hard-fought match as Kemble is going off. So it's bad luck for New Zealand, because tomorrow morning they leave for New Guinea and have 3 matches in 7 days. And they've used up all their replacements. No, Hugh McGann must come on, I'm sorry. McGann must be on, and Whittaker will go back to fullback, I think, Tony.
So Hugh McGann having his first taste, albeit belatedly, of Test football. Gary Kemble coming off an unfortunate injury. This is Rebo. Australia having the last 2 tries with relative ease. As this Kiwi side, after putting up a wonderful performance in the opening moments of the second half, have just weakened slightly and left a few gaps. Most of the crowd starting to leave the Sydney Cricket Ground now as Australia run rampant. 18 points to 2. Only 6 minutes left in the game. Muggleton flicking out a pass to Price. Price trying to flick it out to Rebo. A little too hard, and it's gone out.
I'm watching Kemble leaving the field here as this replay is on, and he's being assisted or carried off now by some New Zealand players who have come off the grandstand to help him. And bad luck for Kemble. Looks like a leg injury to me. He's certainly not in a good way. So a great third quarter, really, and ended up with Australia clicking, you might say, with a try of Price that broke the hearts of New Zealand, and from 5-2 to 10-2, and I think there's where the test was lost.
Gordon Smith. Mark Graham getting a nice pass up to James Luluwai. Luluwai seemed to be obstructed, but he lost the ball forward. Luluwai's up and okay. So the scrum going down almost on the halfway line. Just inside Australia's half.
Having a look, Hugh McGann has gone into the back of the scrum, and it looks like James Luluwai, I don't know whether he's adopted the role of fullback now, but he's certainly behind the base of the scrum, which indicates he could be in the role of fullback, and Whittaker has gone to the centre position. Yes, that's what's happened. And he's a good fullback too, a very fast attacking player in this position.
Howie Tamati. Broadhurst. Smith putting in Kevin Tamati. This is a nice little break for Hugh McGann. What a way to start your test match. Hugh McGann, who was rated very highly by those who've seen him here.
Well, we have Australia.
James Luluwai running and jumping and jinking. New Zealand looked like they might have a final burst of speed here with 5 minutes left in the game. Less than 5 minutes, in fact. Mark Graham going to run it himself. Broadhurst. Right up there now, 20 metres from the Australian line. If they can pull something off here, they'll salvage some pride, the Kiwis. They played well enough. That pass went awry. Thrown to no one.
And we had a chance to, on the right, the open side, there was an overlap there of 4-3, but instead the forwards just went a bit too far.
Wally Lewis is feeding the Australian squad. Ball's coming back New Zealand's way. Gordon Smith's away with a little run there. They could be in with a chance here. 10 metres out from the Australian line, and Price has it. Australia getting possession back. Rogers flicking it out to Rebo. Rebo's coming back inside. Missed by Gall. Dane O'Hara trying to get him. Can't get him. James Luluwai finally bundling him into touch.
That was bad play by Gordon Smith. He played the ball, got it hooked back straight from the play of the ball, and whereas New Zealand had a chance to try and score their first test try this season, instead the ball flicks back to Australia and away they go, and New Zealand really in a bad defensive position.
So right back on defence now, the Kiwis, after being within metres of the Australian line and winning the scrum. Australia's got possession. Gordon Smith putting it back. Gary Prome. Prome looking for a place to run out wide. Howie Tamati. West looking to put it inside again, still gets the pass away. Mark Graham gets it back again. Luluwai. Alison Filipina caught by Rogers. Mark Graham keeping his hands high, looking for the place to get it. Quick hands from New Zealand, but they're not really gaining any distance until there. Hugh McGann roving out there. John Whittaker, number 14, the replacement back. Hugh McGann, number 15, the replacement forward.
And the man of the match is Ray Price, the Australian loose forward, who certainly had a great game and really set the seal in this match with a great try.
Less than 2 minutes remaining in the game now. Australia leading New Zealand 18-2. It's Australia's test match. And it doesn't look like there's any chance of a third and deciding test match. It looks like a 2-0 series to Australia. Running it up again, Wally Lewis. Running around Alison Filipina and fooling him completely, then back again to Lewis. Through play, and this is Kerry Mostert. James Luluwai catches it. Mostert still gets the pass away and the tackle to Mortimer. Mortimer caught by McGann. This is Rebo. John Rebo. Still looking at it, no try. So Gordon Smith saved like he'd got there. We'll have another look at it. John Rebo, the hard, dangerous running winger. Hard to see, they're a little obscured, but Gordon Smith managed to get it off him in time, and referee Fred Lindop signals no try.
He's on his chest, no try at all. Well saved by Smith.
Here's a third look at it. No, he didn't force the ball. So the scrum, New Zealand winning the scrum. McGann flicks it out to Graham. Whittaker out there, Luluai, Gary Prome. Hard tackle on Gary Prome. Got some support from Whittaker. Mark Graham getting the pass up nicely. Hugh McGann looking around for support.
McGann is certainly running off very well of players. He's having a very, very good test debut here.
Bruce Gall. I wonder how long it's going to be, Des, before Hugh McGann is a full-time member of the New Zealand Test side.
I think they'll be in New Guinea, I should imagine.
West held by 3. The Australians slowing things down a little now. West getting the penalty eventually. Off Rod Morris.
Well, with only about a minute to go, New Zealand have won the scrums just by a couple, that's all, and penalties have certainly favoured them by quite a substantial margin. About 2-4-6, 8-4 in the second half after 9-3 in the first. So a big score of penalties New Zealand's way.
We're in injury time now. 41 minutes gone by my clock. Gordon Smith flicking it out. Broadhurst. New Zealand trying to do something in the dying moments. Olsen Filipina. And there's the hooter. That is full time. So Australia have won the Test series 2-0 and have beaten New Zealand 20-2 in the second Test. What an exciting Test it was, seesawing from end to end.